and we're back for Is It That Bad? Yeah, unfortunately, we didn't have a show last week, and I take full responsibility for that. Fell a little under the weather, and we canceled the show for the week. No, Carson, we did not cancel it because I think that this movie could take down Ouija sharks. Okay, we're going to fight about that. But today we have come back to talk some City of the Living Dead, Lucio Fulci fame. This was Carson's selection when Carson and I did Phantasm 2. But before we get on into that, Legend, how you doing?
I'm doing great tonight, coming at you live from the Comic-Con. Is it that bad? City of the Living Dead, 1980, Italian. You got Fulci. You got what was that place called, Kat? Dunkirk.
Dunkirk. But isn't it actually supposed to be like Salem?
Dunwich. I mean Dunwich.
Dunwich.
Yeah.
No, Dunkirk was that one war movie. Yeah. It's based on the actual city and everything.
That's actually a pretty fucking good movie. So
that's a very good movie.
That movie will not be talked about. We're sorry.
No, that's all we're talking about for that movie.
But Dunwich is the town where this film opens up. But before we get to Dunwich, Kat Wren, you got to check that chat.
We got to get in that chat. All right. So first off, of course, we got our boy Chad here. And of course, more importantly, we got the Poppers. Tank is here as well. Hi, Tank. Hi, Chad. But hi, Tankers. How you doing?
Tank is in the house.
Oh, yeah.
Kat Wren, do you want to give it a little intro or start it up with City of the Living Dead and go into more of what Carson had said to you about this movie?
So City of the Living Dead is part of Lucio Fulci's Dead trilogy of films. Of course, this is a trilogy just because Fulci says it's a trilogy. The three films really don't have a whole hell of a lot to do with each other, except, there's zombies. And he uses a lot of the same actors through a lot of his projects. So, it's Fulci. If he wants these films to be connected, they're connected. So the other films in this are The Beyond, and I believe it's The House by the Cemetery or The House near the Cemetery. It's something like that. It's a whatever film. But I know The Beyond is the one that Carson believes is the better out of the three. Full disclosure, I'd never actually seen any of these three films. I actually confessed to Carson, I'm not the biggest zombie fan myself. I can watch a lot of horror, but there's something about zombies, I don't connect with them as much. And it's not like they creep me out or anything. It's just I don't connect with them as much. I don't think they're as scary. But I will tell you, this movie definitely takes you in some different turns and takes you to just some different places. So we open on into a seance or something to that effect. I don't know if these are supposed to be witches, if they're supposed to be seers, or what. I know one girl in particular, she dies, which we're going to get back to that later on, but she dies as a result of this seance. And we see this priest, and he commits suicide, and he's buried, and it's, all very, very ominous and very weird. And there's all this crazy music going on, which I know you love and everything. But then all hell breaks loose, and we find out that the dead are starting to rise. And this one city, Dunwich, where everything, no dead shall rest, everything's going to shit. And there's a bit of a story there, or at least this reporter believes there's a story there. So he goes to kind of look into this young woman who has just died under mysterious circumstances. And I gotta tell you, this scene, this really screwed with me. The scene where she wakes up after being buried
Oh.
partially alive. Thankfully, it was only partially because they stopped because they're like, oh, it's 5 o'clock. We get to leave. And it's just like, you're really going to leave her like that? And he's like, what? She doesn't care. And it's just like, we don't get overtime. And it's like, really? Respect the dead. But of course, thank you for not completely burying her because she actually wakes up and
starts banging and scratching on the collar.
This is really terrifying because that happened a lot back in the day. Like, not back in the 1980s, but like back in like 1600s, 1700s, 1800s. Yep. This happened a lot.
Buried alive.
And that's why in a lot of these like older cemeteries, you'll see little bell systems hooked up. And it was a way for you to alert people that you're alive down there so they can hurry up and dig you out. But this whole scene where this guy, this reporter, is halfway hearing something and he's not sure and he keeps looking over like, am I hearing something? It's like, dude, go check it out. Go actually walk over there and check it out. And I felt so frustrated. I'm like, this girl is going to suffocate before he can actually get her out of there. And she's clawing and she's scratching and she's doing everything she can to try to get herself out of there. And it's not until she finally just starts screaming and using up all the air she has.
And old Peter, the reporter, Peter, who was investigating the death of Mary. You know, Mary was the guy that died during the seance. He was investigating that, and he finally, you know, Kat, didn't he take like 2 or 3 second guesses before he went back to get Mary?
Oh my God. The scene is so frustrating for me because he keeps like looking over. He's like, and he starts to walk over and then he'll turn around. But then when he finally hears her screaming and he finally decides to help her, he doesn't yell for the guys. He doesn't yell for the guys or anything. He just grabs some of their tools and starts just pickaxe. Dude, you're gonna like stab her in the face with it. She's gonna die in there because you're gonna go through her face.
Exactly what I was thinking. And then
I was so scared for her.
Mary was like, you could see Mary looking where the damn blade was gonna come through the coffin. I thought that was some Fulci classic. God. I think that's what he did. Fulci wanted to get a rise out of the viewer right there.
That scene was scary. I felt scared for her.
Oh yeah,
but. I mean, thankfully, our girl Mary is saved. Thankfully, no thanks to this reporter who almost took her head off. But I mean, there's this movie. There's so much going on in this movie. But these two, they decide that they're going to team up to try to resolve whatever is going on in Dunwich that involves this priest killing himself and the dead rising.
Some of that stuff prophecies, of course, from that ancient book of Enoch, which was one of them things. If you know your Bibles and stuff, there was a guy that the Apostle Paul used to hang with named Barnabas, and they were apostles and everything. But then they had a fight or something, and Barnabas went his way, Paul went his way. But anyways, Barnabas wrote some stuff that wasn't in the traditional Bible. And this book of Enoch was some of that stuff, and it's real end times type, scary, apocalyptic type stuff,
Oh yeah,
devil stuff, Woo.
Some crazy stuff.
So yeah, that preacher, the old Father Thomas, basically, after his hanging, he was able to appear as an apparition in front of many people and do different things. And when he actually appeared in front of some of them, he could cause them to do some pretty gross stuff. But we'll get there, because I think, I'm trying to remember, Catherine, at that point, I think, we do get to see, before all that, we get to see a young vagrant boy named Bob. He's kind of like your Boo Radley in To Kill a Mockingbird, kind of just the oddball, screwy kid. That a lot of these dudes that are in the bar, 3 guys in the bar, they're always like, then Bob tried to kidnap your kid's sister, or you know what I mean? Oh, great stuff though, Bob.
What is going on with Bob and all these girls? These, like, literally, like, all these, like, these stereotypical, like, hot teenage girls are all after Bob for some reason. Yeah. He's this gangly, like, the kid looks like he's terrified of his own shadow. And all these girls are like, Bob, like chasing after. Even the one girl who's like just trying to get high in her dad's car is after Bob.
Yeah, there's this one girl, the Emily her name's Emily, and there's a psychiatrist in this movie called his name's Jerry, and his girlfriend is Emily, and Emily's 19. She has a younger brother named I don't know, I always call him John or John Boy. I think he was that little kid. We're
Yep.
gonna talk him too, but and then there was this person that was a fellow psychiatrist. I think her name was Sandra. But anyway, so Emily goes across town to help Bob. Bob's frightened or whatever. And then Emily, like Bob actually sees when he goes in that abandoned house, he sees this little, it looks like a baby size, but it's all got worms and it looks like a dead baby, what would be like
Oh
a
my
dead
God.
child. Remember that scene?
You reminded me of
Oh.
the blow up in the house.
Oh yeah, before that, yeah, I skipped ahead.
I completely forgot that.
Tell everybody
So,
about Bob and the blow up
This
doll. That was
house,
classic.
this abandoned house, before
Yeah.
we've seen any of the gross stuff and everything, Bob, he blows up this blow up doll and he like approaches it and it's really sleazy. And I'm gonna tell you, I've never been so scared for a blow up doll before. You know, other than like
Bob's creepy.
Plastic, the comic book. But Bob's a really creepy dude. He's a really creepy dude, and you know he's getting ready to like ravage the blow up doll or whatever, and he sees this basically like a body that's decomposed, that's covered with all these maggots and all these gross things. Which, you know what, huge shout out to the special effects team on this, because I mean, a lot of times with these like lower budget horror movies, or you know these different region horror movies. This is an Italian horror movie. The money's not necessarily there always, but I will tell you, they definitely did not skimp out on special effects in this. This movie is gross, and they doubled down on the gross. Like, I buy these maggots being real and all of this. Like, you can almost like smell it through the screen. Like, there's a few scenes where I gagged. I'm like, oh God, you know, especially a scene with maggots later on in the film is a bit much. But yeah, Bob's a creepy dude. And he sees creepy things. And for some reason, Bob almost seems like he's immune to a lot of what's going on. I don't know if it's like a mental health thing where he's immune to it, or what it is there. Like, they never really explain that, unfortunately. I wish they would have kind of like gotten into that a bit more, but Bob sees a lot of people getting attacked by this.
Yeah,
this
when
whole thing.
Bob's in that like little area, and then the Emily, she's trying to confront Bob, like, because Bob's freaking out. Bob runs and gets the hell out of there, and he goes and hides in the garage. And we'll talk about that in a minute. But good old freaking Emily, she sees old Father Thomas, and he's, you know, got the crazy look in his eyes, and he lifts his hand up, and he's got like all these like worms and maggots and crap on there, and he comes down real slow-mo on her. And then of course the next morning they find the girl Emily dead or whatever, and Bob's nowhere to be found. The sheriff, of course, he tells Emily's father, aka John's father too, but he tells Emily's father that, hey, we suspect Bob did it. He wants to
Like,
Bob.
It's like maggots and all this gross stuff, and Jared's like, Bob did it.
It had to be Bob. He's into maggots and those worms. He's all into that shit. Oh, but that was so screwy. But and then Bob, like, oh my God, I don't want to fast forward too much to Bob. I want to talk to another good.
Bob's not that important, but he's a really interesting side plot, Bob.
But before we go back, I want to like go into the middle, and I don't know if this is after or before. I'm trying to look. I think it's maybe in between somewhere. But do you remember the couple that were like making out in the car?
Oh my God, yes. So like, there's so many like characters that almost kind of seem to blend together, and a lot of the female actresses in this look quite a bit alike. I'm not gonna lie. Like, if it seems like we're like blending certain stories together, it's because a lot of them there's not much of a difference. They don't really stand out. They're not very memorable, but a lot of these scenes and a lot of these deaths are. So there was a young couple. They're like Lover's Lane or some backwood alley. I don't know. It didn't look like any Lover's Lane I've ever seen.
It shouldn't even have really been in the movie. It didn't even have to be in the movie because it was really irrelevant to everything else.
It really was. All I was thinking was maybe he was trying to like sneak some sex in there, but nothing happens. Nothing happens. Literally, they're like talking about it, and they almost kiss, and then they see the preacher, and then this is when we're first introduced to the whole concept of like crying blood. And a lot of the women in this, they end up crying blood before they like, you know, go full on whatever. Like she starts spitting out these maggots. And there's no explanation there. Like she hasn't been bit, she hasn't been infected, she hasn't had this ripped off yet, like a lot of the others, but she's just like spitting out all this gross stuff, and it's like her whole like organs,
her whole intestines, and
everything.
Like, everything that's in there, like just all out at once. And then that was what the dang the Father Thomas, the vision of Father Thomas, man. You're exactly right. All the girls started crying blood whenever they saw Father Thomas. He was just some crazy ass guy. But I want to get back to Bob. So Bob, he ends up hiding in this garage, and this girl, her name in the show, her name is God, I want to say her name is Anne, but shit, I don't really remember. But the daughter of this guy named Jerry. No, not Jerry, because Jerry's the psychiatrist. See, some of these names are just random. But anyway, this daughter, she offers Bob, who's just trying to get some Z's, but really Bob's hiding out as well, because Bob's seen some scary stuff in the past 24 hours. So she offers to like light up some marijuana with him, and then all of a sudden her father comes in, and he's going ape shit because at the bar he heard the sheriff and all of them saying Bob's doing this, Bob's doing that. So him and Bob struggle, and they're in his garage area where there's the that drill type thing. I guess it's some kind of woodworking material thing. And then that guy puts Bob's head down, and you think, you know, Bob's going to get out of it, or something's going to happen, or maybe a zombie's going to kill the guy. But no, the dude actually rams Bob's head into the dildo. It just goes right in his temple, and Bob dies. Of course, we find out, you know, maybe hours later that Bob becomes one of the undead.
Yeah.
Because, you know, the death of Father Thomas, what it did, it opened up a gate, like a gate to hell, and there's only going to be 2 or 3 days before All Saints Day, before all of the world is taken over, you know, or some crazy shit like that. And I was like, oh God. And they're also in a time crunch. So while some of this crap is going on, good old Jerry the reporter and Mary, they're making their way out to I always want to say Dunkirk, but it's Dunwich. And they're taking that damn trip across the town, while at the same time in Dunwich there's still more, you know, Jerry the psychiatrist, his girl Sandra at her house. They see this old lady named Mrs. Holden. I remember that because Holden was my father-in-law's name is Holden or whatever. But anyway, that guy, the Holden, she was an old woman who passed away earlier in the day, and Jerry remembers going to the funeral home to see Emily, his girlfriend, you know, because he had to make sure, you know, let people know that yes, this is Emily. And then of course John and his parents saw the daughter dead too in the coffin. But right next to her coffin was this old lady named Mrs. Holden, and so Sandra, of course, you think she's having a nervous breakdown and crap, and she really isn't. Jerry comes over, you know, she calls Jerry, says, oh my God, this person's in my house, he's dead, how'd you get her, blah. And then so Jerry runs home, and then she finds, God damn it, if she ain't telling the truth, this old woman is on the fucking floor.
I mean, wouldn't you have to though? Like, you'd have to think like,
she didn't call.
Clearly, I'm losing my mind.
So she called the psychiatrist.
I would call someone that I trusted, like, hey, you're gonna think I'm crazy. I just need you to come look at this.
Yeah.
You know, and then it's just like, yeah, there's a dead person there. Thank you. I was not the only person that saw it. I understand where she would think that. And like, I guess she was having like some emotional problems and everything before. And she was like self-medicating with like alcohol and everything. So I could see why she would be concerned
Mm-hmm.
about that. But I feel really bad for her because then she just starts pouring stiffer and stiffer drinks.
Yeah.
She's like, this is the only medicine that's gonna work with this. And then the body just disappears.
Mm-hmm.
It just disappears, and then they have to go like room by room looking for her. It's just like, well, clearly she didn't just get up and walk away. It's like, or did she though? Did she though?
I know. It's classic.
So then ultimately we end up with this unfortunate circumstance where the dead are coming back, and one of them is our girl Emily. She comes back to her parents' house, and it's pretty traumatizing because little boy sees his sister outside, but she's wrong. There's something wrong about her, and he tries to tell his parents, and they don't believe him. They just think it's been a really frustrating day for everyone. They're all really brokenhearted about losing her, and they're gonna let him be for the night. Unfortunately, we don't see it. I think it probably could have been like a fantastic kill sequence, but Emily kills both of her parents and then goes after her younger brother.
John, yeah.
That's when John calls for help. Ultimately, we end up having these two teams colliding, and they pretty much task the women with keeping an eye on John and making sure he's safe. And then the guys are trying to figure out what's going on. And I mean, that's when the real action starts to happen.
Yeah.
And we get into some of the really crazy things. And for some reason, this is something that neither you nor I could really figure this out. How strong would someone have to be, zombie, human, or otherwise? How strong would they have to be to crunch the back of someone's skull with their hands?
That's right.
This. It didn't even look like they put a lot of force in there.
It was a reverse Von Erich claw, but why it's reversed because you get it from the back of the head, and then they crush it, and then they take out some of your back brains, and then they just all die. That was the way the zombies killed that way. It was like the reverse Von Erich claw.
They killed a lot of people that way.
Yeah, I remember there's a part I was going to say where Mrs. Holden, when they go back downstairs, Mrs. Holden is gone. And then they think, well, where'd she go? And then they're all freaking out. So finally, they go back to Jerry's place. But I love how the music, it actually shows, it zoomed in under these curtains, and you could see these feet. And that was Mrs. Holden's dead body just standing behind some curtain. That's why guys oh shit, they zoomed in on the feet. I thought I got traumatized, or if I wasn't traumatized, I was lobotomized.
Hey, she was wearing shoes though. She was wearing shoes.
Thank God for that. I said, damn. But John, he's with Sandra. But what happens is Sandra is killed by Emily because Emily starts coming up the stairs. Sandra's taking care of John. Emily, the sister's coming up the stairs. They're all just like, oh, Emily, is it really you? Just kind of pausing and being stupid. But nope, yeah. Emily with the reverse Von Erich claw on Sandra. Sandra goes down. John takes off running, and we'll see him a little later. I think the police catch up to him because he even comes into play with the whole he starts seeing some little apparitions from Father Thomas as well. But Kat, so the ones we basically have left now are Mary and Peter,
Mary,
the reporter,
the psychiatrist, and the reporter.
Peter, the reporter.
Three that are trying to figure out the city of the dead. They're trying to find the father's grave. They're trying to fix all of this and resolve everything before the time runs out on all of this.
And they met up with Jerry and Sandra also before. I'm sorry to tell you that, fans. They did finally meet up, and Jerry was like, I mean, it was a weird meetup. It was like they both groups just kind of met up, and I was like, well, damn, let's go together.
It was kind of like Scooby-Doo team up.
Yeah.
Scooby-Doo team up where you've got Scooby, Shaggy, and like Scrappy, and then meet the Globetrotters
They're
or
like,
Batman and Robin. Like you just run into each other and like, oh, let's go solve a mystery. Like that was really what that whole scene was.
yeah, that reporter,
and they're like, let's go solve it.
Peter Bell, the reporter, he's like, he says, ask Jerry the psychiatrist. He's like, do you know of a Father Thomas, or maybe of a preacher that like killed himself here in whatever? And they're like, oh, you mean Father? Yeah, Father Thomas. And then they're like, oh, now we know. Let's go to Father Thomas's grave or whatever, cat, right?
Mm-hmm. But like, so I'm not gonna lie, this entire movie, probably the most frustrating thing was I thought that this reporter was going to be our hero, right?
Yeah.
He's built up so much throughout the entire film. He's putting up with all this craziness.
He's a classic Hollywood actor from he played in the Rat Pack back in the day.
I thought he was going to be our hero. He was going to be like the guy to save the day, all this and that. And then what should happen to him?
Rat Patrol is what he was in.
He gets crunched.
Reverse Von Erich by Sandra. Sandra out of nowhere. Sandra comes. So all of them, Mary and Jerry and old Peter, they're all in the crypt. It's like a tomb. They have to like push this thing and then go down these steps.
Down.
I mean, it's really Dark Shadows type freaking tombs and crap in there. And then poor old, and his name was Christopher George. He was in the Rat Patrol in the 1960s. And in the 1967 Best TV Star, won a Golden Globe. Anyway, you've seen this actor. A lot of people, if y'all don't know it, but that guy, Sandra comes in, reverse Von Erich, takes part of his brain out, and then Jerry, of course, does this classic. He finds something sharp. It looked like some kind of fire poker or something, and then he just stabs the zombie Sandra to her death. Yeah,
and that there's another thing. That's the first time you actually see someone fight one of these zombies.
Yeah, there
was a whole scene, like I think it was in the police department when they're getting attacked, and they're just standing there like, oh, zombies. Like, dude, shoot them, stab them, fight them, something.
For a time, Jerry did have a revolver on him. I just don't remember if he ever fired it. You know what I mean? Like, of course, it's been a while since I saw the movie, but yeah, I don't think he fired it off. But I know he had it. They just didn't really do anything with it. Maybe it would cost him too much money to edit the bullet sound effects or something. I don't know. Oh, but anyway, so Sandra, she's dead. And on the way, it seems like Mary and now Jerry. That's just these classic names. Mary and Jerry, they're trying to find their way out. Of course, Mary, the psychic, like seance lady, Jerry, the psychiatrist. And on their way out of this tomb, I don't know if it was the devil visions, but on the ceilings, Kat, do you remember seeing all those like those skeletons and just dead bodies and crap? I was like, okay, are they visions, or are they really like dead people in these preachers' tombs? You know what I mean?
So what I took that as was like you saw like the preacher's family's crypt or tomb or whatever, and like how old fashioned it was, and you saw all of them in this whole like this was an old cemetery
from the Salem witch trial days,
like these were old tombs, these were old bodies, and I feel like, and a lot of them were connected. So I feel like, it's called the City of the Dead for the living dead for a reason. They're all digging themselves out of their own graves and coming to meet each other in this one place because this father, I don't know if he's like now being controlled by a demon or the devil himself or what have you, but he's now kind of controlling all of these dead people, including like way older dead people, and
it's kind of
coming out of the woodwork.
They're coming out of the woodwork. This movie is very H.P. Lovecraft, heavily influenced. It has a lot of that, like not necessarily the Cthulhu stuff, but there were these priests or whatever that were getting the arrival of the lead Cthulhu thing ready to go. I mean, they play off these old school classic elements of zombies and control, and how this Father Thomas guy is trying to control them all. And And sooner or later, Father Thomas in the tomb, he finally catches up to him, and he starts the stare down with Mary. The stare down, and then poor old
Crying
Mary,
blood.
she's staring back, and of course Mary is crying the
So
blood,
much
crying the blood, and then old Jerry's like looking over. It's kind of like Darth Vader when Darth Vader looks over at his son Luke getting shot to shit by the Emperor Palpatine, and Darth Vader goes, "Huh, huh," and then he goes over and like throws the Emperor. Jerry's like, "Oh shit, her eyes are bleeding, her eyes are bleeding." So he takes this like big cross type thing that's wooden. It's a big wooden stake, really huge. It's the shape of a cross, and then he just rams it into that priest.
Into his gut.
Actually, looked like Ryan. It looked like below the gut, and
You
I
got
was like,
right there.
"Oh my god!" He put him down in
Got him.
between the legs. Oh my god! And I was just like, and then when
Got him right in the jewels.
but it just like it's all powdered and caved, I guess, because it's like a powdery dead body or whatever. But it was just so like weird and kind of gross at the same time. And then once Jerry did that, all the dead people, starting with Father Thomas, all the dead people that was wandering around down there, they started lighting up in flames, didn't they?
Yeah.
So
Like it's like once you take out the main guy, it's like everyone else falls, and they believe that they have saved the day, and they've stopped, the rise of all of the living dead. So, before we talk about like the really confusing ending, I want to check that chat because we got a chat going on right now.
Okay. Wow! Holy crap! I've been looking at different windows and trying to get.
We've been a little busy here. Sorry, folks. But Chris Barrett, as per usual, checking in with the fam. Hi, Chris. We do have some Seawood 19. Carson, we're talking about your movie. And, of course, we do have some voting to do on this. Also, guys, be sure to stay until a little bit longer because we are doing our audience pick tonight. You guys might be able to pick out what movie we review next week on Is It That Bad?
Fish Tropic in the house, too.
Fish Tropic. Definitely not going to miss out on Fish Tropic. Our boy, everyone knows he's got the best aquarium in the house.
That's right. He does.
The best.
Fish Tropic. City of the Living Dead. Mary and Jerry, they make it out of the crypt. They're climbing out. And as they're climbing out of the crypt, two police officers are bringing John to Mary and Jerry. Like, I don't know what, I guess they're the new benefactors of this child.
I guess they're just going to inherit this child now.
Oh, so anyway, Jerry and Mary, they're just, it's John. And then as John keeps running closer, Kat Wren, what goes on? What is this ending? What the hell's happening?
I don't know what happens because it seems like a perfectly happy ending, and John seems very jovial. The kid's so excited to still be alive. He's looking at him thinking, you're still alive. We did it. Yay, no more dead people coming around and like ripping people, like the back of people's skulls out. But then Mary just starts to scream. She just starts to scream for no reason.
And it just cuts to black. It's like, oh, and it just cuts to black.
Well, doesn't it like break and spider web out?
Oh, wait, it does kind of break into that.
Like
so
that's the image that I used for this the tag photo for this. It's like when it starts breaking on John.
Yeah.
Which I don't understand this ending. I don't get it. I don't know what's going on. Is John supposed to be possessed now?
I think that was just
Mary
Lucio
seeing
messing
something.
Around.
Is this just supposed to be like a twist ending? Is this just supposed to be like, oh, she's having another vision? Is she seeing another movie? I don't know. I don't know what this movie is. I don't know what this ending is.
Let me find out. Let me see who does know. And that is Seawood 19. You want me to get him on here?
You should get him on here and see if he knows what's going on. Yeah. So this is Jabber, aka JJ, Jabberjaw.
Jabberjaw. Let me grab
Yeah,
this
Fish
little link
Tropic
here.
likes my shark.
You know, we were talking, I mean, that Discovery Plus, they got that old awesome Shark Week on there. So I thought that was kind of cool.
They
Now,
have so much fantastic shark content.
yeah.
I mean, that could be a whole video just in itself, just talking about all the shark goodness out there right now.
And there is a lot of dang shark goodness to be had, that's for sure. I tell you, this movie, though, City of the Living Dead, for me, and we'll see if Carson makes it in, but for me, hey, Carson, I sent that to your FB message.
That was my thing. So Carson
You
says,
know.
explanation. It's Fulci. That's all I got.
It's a classic.
Yeah, because from what I know, Italian directors for the most part, especially Lucio Fulci, they have a vision, they have a goal, they have all that. They have a movie they want to make, and they're damn well not going to let story or plot get in the way at all. They're going to make their movie the way they want to. And he definitely made a weird, gross contraption of a film. So, but before we get into like the whole audience participation and we get into that whole scenario, Legend, we do this thing on Is It That Bad, where we kind of like rank films, and the worst of the worst is like our reigning champion, our Miss Sunday Night, and for the longest time this season, it has been Ouija Shark.
Yep.
Now, Mark's not, he's not feeling too well, so he's actually not a part of this episode, but he did vote on this one. And he said that this movie made no effing sense.
Oh.
And he actually thought this was worse than Ouija Shark.
Damn.
So Mark's actually voted this to be the new reigning champion of Is It That Bad? However, that is one vote. I think he really just wants me to lose my title for once. But, I have no say in the matter. So we're all going to vote, and we're going to decide on, is it that bad? Is it worse than Ouija Shark? Is this going to be the new reigning champion? Is Carson going to be Miss Sunday Night? If he is, his butt needs to come back on here.
Yeah, if it is, you need to come back on here, because currently right now, to me, this movie, City of the Living Dead, I thought it was very interesting. I don't do a lot of the zombie movies either. I have seen the original 1968 George Romero Night of the Living Dead, and I've seen, of course, Zombieland and some of the new stuff like that. But this movie I thought was pretty good. It's just a typical classic zombie movie, but with the whole Book of Enoch and the devil stuff and a little bit of that kind of intertwined. It kind of piqued my interest. Some of the way, I don't understand why they always did the reverse Von Erich claw to kill people. But whatever, that's okay. And why Jerry only killed 2 of these things. No one else knew how to kill them. I mean, they move so slow. Just do like Jerry, grab a little stick and just stab them in the gut, But I thought it was a very interesting show. Oh, that's right. Shout out to the awesome Goblin soundtrack.
Oh, yeah.
This movie, that was one of the kick-ass things about the movie, was the musical soundtrack to it. Had some great background music, great gore, great effects, over-the-top gore for but the Italians, they do it hardcore with over-the-top gore. And all I got to say is I kind of enjoyed the movie. So I'm not going to say it was like the worst movie or anything like that. That is still, to me, my vote goes to Ouija Shark.
Okay. So before I get into my vote, Chris Barrett already says we're staying with Ouija Shark.
So that's good. I mean, even if Carson was in here to say this movie and then you picked Ouija Shark for the tie, Chris Barrett being the lead moderator, the number one moderator of the channel, he gets to break the tie.
But me personally, I think what it comes down to is, am I going to go for a film that has a bit more of a story that's kind of like a campy, fun scenario? or am I going to go with something that has a lot more gore and, you know, really great special effects? Honestly, like I thought the special effects on this really stood the test of time. This is from 1980, and especially the scene where she's like basically throwing up her insides. Like I gagged at a few of these scenes. The scenes with like the maggots getting spewed at them in the wind was a lot for me, and I cringed at certain scenes. I jumped for Mary when she was getting stabbed at when she was in the coffin, you know. And for those things alone, that and of course the soundtrack, I do have to say I do believe this is a much better film than what Ouija Shark is.
And didn't you find it when you were watching it for the first time? Didn't you start, like, for me personally, I was like, I'm kind of digging this movie. Let's keep going with it. You know.
So, one of the things that I didn't really realize the first time I watched this, but I realized it for real the second time. So the first time I watch a film, especially for this, if I've never seen it before, I just try to focus on the film itself and like take it bit by bit. But one of the things I noticed the second time around, because I tend to like allow myself to have a bit more freedom, a bit more fun, maybe a cocktail or something, or maybe I do shot for shot, whatever. But I realized that because my Alexa muted my TV for a little bit because she like heard something and she muted it. And I realized that on mute, this movie can fit perfectly with some weird like rock music thrown in, like especially the scene with the priest.
Yeah.
Like that looks like a music video from the 1980s.
I could have seen John Constantine dressed as, or Sting from The Police dressed like John Constantine.
Oh yeah.
With some cool like good music and shit in there.
But
yeah, definitely old school. I mean, I was telling you, Kat, and Carson the other night how I love when I go back and watch these older films, I see how the world was back then. So, you know, go back to 1980, you know, that's not everyone has the old fiber internet like the old legend. Some people still, Tasha ain't got no fiber. You know, some people still on that Tasha plan where it's just a damn freaking phone that's connected to the wall and you got to like do a little rotary circular thingy.
Wow.
Remember, that's old school. But no, like I love the 1980. I mean, I love those early years. That's why I'm a big fan of 60s and 70s ones too, because you get to see all the stuff just looks so old, like the carpeting and the set design, because it's so neat. But it's these movies are, you know, we used to say, are these set periods, or is this the 1700s? Now we can do that with today's movies.
No, I just drink, Chris.
But yeah, I always like that though. But golly, is it that bad? City of the Living Dead? I think not, and I think a Ouija Shark is still the reigning, defending, undisputed heavyweight champion of Is It That Bad?
It's pretty hard to beat a shark that's communicating through a Ouija board. I'm just saying, it's pretty hard to beat that.
Do we got any like good old what, you know, I've got a film like we want, your mom, you know what, let's talk about Mama Wren. She just handed you a little piece of paper, like, I like that.
So
handed you a Post-it note. I'm getting excited.
This is supposed to be our audience participation episode, where people can go ahead and nominate films that they would like us to do. And next week we're going to be talking about one of the said films. Of course, the only real thing that we ask is that it be something that's readily available on one of the various streaming platforms. It has to be something that we can get our hands on online. You know, that's not going to either A, give our computers a bunch of viruses or something, or B, we don't have to go down a million different rabbit holes to get our hands on it. So, of course, Mama Wren watches the show occasionally, overheard this, and
she's watching right now, you think?
I don't know if she's watching right now, but she did sneak me a Post-it note on the off airs, and she's made her suggestion known. So she would like us to review Cooties, and it's available on Tubi. So Cooties has been thrown out into the voting pool. Of course, we're gonna let the chat choose what movie we do, but Cooties is our first recommendation of the night.
During the week, we'll put that up on the Common Core community. Don't they have a community vote thing or something like that?
I think there's a community vote tab, but I need the login information for the channel. I don't have the login information for the channel. I just have it for StreamYard and everything to set up the thing.
Mm-hmm.
So we'd have to get that from Chad. So I think we have some other
Look at Chris. Chris Barrett says, I want us to watch Grown Ups 1 and 2. You can watch it on the Peacock.
Peacock, guys.
I have Peacock, and I seen Grown Up. Grown Ups, isn't that the one with Adam Sandler, Chris Rock, David Spade, all the SNL people? That's a good movie. So we have to watch both of them, though?
I guess. The one thing I remember about Grown Ups was the little girl saying she wanted to get chocolate wasted.
Mm-hmm. One number. Oh, they're coming for you. 3, 4. Yeah, I think that Grown Ups, that would be a fun one too. I mean, all right, so right now it's between Grown Ups and Cooties. That's kind of a good one.
Chris says he wants us to watch a good movie for once. Cooties is a good movie if you've ever seen it. Just throwing it out there.
Dude, I actually kind of like The City of the Living Dead.
I liked it.
My God.
What else do we got?
Does Chad want to see the Todd Browning?
Oh, you want to see like the black and white freaks that actually use like real performers from actual like freak shows and everything? Yeah, is that even available to stream somewhere?
I think it is. It's a classic.
I've seen parts of it. I've never seen the entire film.
It's a Todd Browning directed film. This was 1932. So 1 year, 1931, Bela Lugosi, Dracula, directed by Todd Browning, funded and produced by Carl Lumbly of Universal. But fans, Todd Browning the second, 1932, he did a film, Cat Wren, called Freaks. He went from Bela Lugosi, which is well, you know what? To tell you the truth, Cat Wren, Bela Lugosi movie, one of the greatest of all time, but Freaks in its own right is probably one of the greatest like historic films of like real life of all time, I would think. God, was it Svitzy or Svinsel or that little one with the little TP with those big teeth on her? Oh shit!
I know. I know. Freaks. The movie Freaks is the reason why American Horror Story Freak Show the season happened.
Mm-hmm.
Because they took a lot of influence from that film.
We'll have to do Freaks now. I don't know. We'll have to see. Make sure we can get this. I mean,
we'd have to see if it's actually available on something.
Basically, that story of Freaks is about a traveling sideshow. And how a woman tries to come in and, get all romantic-y with the owner of the traveling sideshow. And she wants to try to take the owner's money and then leave all the freaks. And then, of course, the freaks, and all the Carnaby people, they get the last laugh on the lady. I mean, it's a classic story. They actually remade the movie into a more modern movie. I want to say it was one of the first maybe Netflix buy DVDs I got in the mail, before Netflix went streaming. You had to do Netflix DVDs. Do you remember that?
Yes.
DVDs? I thought it was a great service. I mean, I was telling Brandy for the that movie y'all watched the other week, Tall Man 2. Phantasm 2. I told Brandy, I was like thinking about starting up the old DVD by mail Netflix gimmick again, just because physical media is getting harder and harder to find. You know what I mean? So.
What is this? The Khazars?
It's the Khazarnis, Carnies. It's he's speaking Carney. You have to put a lot of Z's in your words, like the shizouse. That's some Carney. That has Carney to it. I don't know why the modern day hip hop just thinks they invented that. That's fucking. That's from the 30s.
Carson's got a vote. He says hell comes to Frogtown.
Well, if they're putting their vote in, I'm putting my vote of VFW, which is a Shudder exclusive, starring what was that guy's name? The guy that was Ike in the Stephen Lang, classic actor. He was also in Avatar as the dude, the dude with the white hair, crew cut, big jacked up Marine guy in that movie. Also, it has Martin Cove, of course, your Cobra Kai lovers, Martin Cove, old Kreese, and then Fred the Hammer Williamson is in there, man. So you got to love that. Got to
All
see
right.
that stuff.
So I think we have a good like
We got a good group, good bunch.
5-6 movies in there, maybe.
Hell Comes to Frogtown,
So
Freaks,
Hell Comes to Frogtown,
Your Mom's movie,
Freaks, Cooties.
yeah.
Did you still want to do Grown Ups 1 and 2, Chris, or did you want to do the Freaks movie? Because I know Chad wants Freaks, but then you started talking about the Carnies. And then did we have anything else, or is that a?
Let me also put this out there, Cat Ren, and you let me know.
Okay.
Would you like to whoever gets voted, whoever wins, whether it's Freaks, the Grown Ups for Chris Barrett, Seawood, Hell Comes to Frogtown, Mama Wren's, Cooties, like whichever one of those movies wins, we can have that person on. So say if the Grown Ups wins, we ought to have Chris Barrett on there talking about
Chris
the Grown Ups.
does say that he wants Grown Ups. He
Wouldn't
wants
that
the
be
Grown Ups
cool?
1 and 2.
Yeah, I want
That could be
Grown Ups
interesting.
on there. All right. Well, we'll see what people vote on. We'll get the codes from Chad, or actually, Chad can make the poll for us. So I mean, we'll get.
You hear
together.
that, Chad? He's putting you to work.
Well, I don't know. Do we have the community tab on Common Core? I know it's over 1,000 subs. I think everyone
we have
over
it.
everyone
should
over
have it.
1,000 should get the community tab gimmick. Okay, so Seawood's changing. He's voting for Mama Wren's movie then. Okay.
Okay, so
we got Freaks, Grown Ups, and Cooties. That's good.
Cooties is a really good movie. I just know Cooties is a movie where a bunch of kids, like it's based in a school or whatever, and then a bunch of kids eat these tainted chicken nuggets, and then they become zombies, basically. And it's from the teacher's perspective because they didn't eat the nuggets, but they're trying to survive getting out of the school. And you got to like figure out what's going on, and then like other people are involved and everything, and it's really crazy. I haven't seen it in years, but I remember it was a really good movie.
I'm excited. What service is it on?
It's on Tubi.
Oh yeah, that's right. Tubi TV.
According
All right.
to her sticky note.
But
But
I'm going to download that tonight. Then
it's got Elijah Wood, right? The guy who plays Frodo.
Yeah,
he's part of his production company.
Okay. Is he in the movie anywhere?
He's the lead star. He's one of the like main teachers or whatever in it. And like this is the same production company that most recently has had like Mandy and The Color of Space. They've been making a lot of these really good movies with what is his name? What's his name?
Elijah Wood?
No. Face Off.
Oh yeah, that movie. Who did that? Oh God, Michael Bay?
No. Hold on. I tell you here in like 2 seconds. For some reason, Nicolas Cage. Nicolas Cage. I didn't even have to unlock my phone to tell you, but Nicolas Cage has been doing a lot of like
Shudder stuff, right? Horror stuff.
Well, yeah, Shudder stuff, but not even necessarily like B-rate horror movies. These are indie horror movies, and like you can tell that he's just kind of having a lot more fun with some of his roles.
I like that when he's just real into his roles. They're so wild. He get the crazy eyes, doesn't he? And you know it's good shit, or whatever he's on is good shit.
Willy's Wonderland, that just recently came out in 2020, was really, really good.
Damn.
So
there's so much. And Willy's Wonderland, is that a Shudder one?
I don't think it's on Shudder.
There's a lot of good movies. You know, so many things go under the radar. And even, I don't know if my brain is just trained.
I know it's on Hulu, though.
I think my brain is trained to see CBR, Chad's website, cbr.com. And all it is superhero movies and crap. You know, they need to have more horror stuff. Actually, they do show. I think they showed what's coming and going from Shudder. I think.
Mhm.
But y'all make sure to get on some of these services, and like we said, all right. So it's going to be Freaks.
Freaks, Grown-Ups 1 and 2. All right, so it's gonna be Freaks, Grown-Ups. We're just gonna say Grown-Ups because it's gonna be a double feature. We're gonna be talking about both films, and then Cooties. And did you want to go with the Frogtown movie or no? Because I know Chris said he wanted to change. Carson said he wanted to change his vote to Mama Wren's movie. So you want to just do the 3 then?
Yeah, let's just do the 3.
Okay, so it's between Freaks, Grown-Ups, or Cooties, everyone. Of course, Grown-Ups being the story with a bunch of like middle-aged dads palling around, like getting their families together for like a vacation and like, you know, all the misadventures, family films, you know, all that. And you know, this is one of the films that stars the late Cameron Boyce, gone too soon. He actually passed away a few years ago, unfortunately. Had a couple health problems. He was only 20 years old. You know, really talented young man, unfortunately passed away. But also Freaks, which a very iconic movie. I've never actually seen all of Freaks. It's just one of those movies that gets referenced a lot and kind of duplicated a lot. And that could be really interesting. Black and white film. It would be our first ever full black and white film for the show. You know, so yeah, it's going to be those 3. We're going to have it up on the community tab. So go right ahead and vote for those films. We'll see who wins, and we'll be getting back next week to be talking about some movies. So when should we shut off the voting by? Because we need time to actually watch this film or films if there's 2 of them. So I would say like what, middle of the week? Is it cool with you if we do till Wednesday?
Yeah, I think Wednesday. Yeah, or when you wake up Thursday morning, just shut it down. Yeah.
Okay, so Thursday morning, it's going to be no more. So like, let's say midnight at Wednesday. You know, that'll be it on the community tab. So we're going to be making Chad put a community tab together. We're going to be taking in some votes that way, and we're going to see who, you know, what movies we're going to be talking about and what's going on. Of course, we do already have the 4 votes right there. I'm
looking, and it looks like HBO Max has Freaks.
Okay,
the 1932
HBO
one.
Max has Freaks.
Do you have HBO Max?
Yes.
Okay, me too.
Cooties is on Tubi.
Okay, I've got that. We'll have that one.
Grown-Ups is on Peacock.
Yeah, I've got
so
that
they
one.
are all readily available.
I'm going to go download the Tubi app tonight.
Both Tubi and Peacock are completely free. You just have to watch with ads. Yeah. And of course, if you don't already have an HBO Max account, just get a free trial, if nothing else. There's a lot of really cool stuff on there. And they've got like a lot of the like in theaters on here at the same time gimmick, you know? So watch some movies. Bunch of really cool stuff. They have all the DC animated stuff on there. And it saves me a lot of time having to dig through and get certain Blu-rays out. So I'm constantly rewatching all of my my DC animation on there.
Yeah, I mean, it really
I'm too
is.
lazy to go through films.
I mean, I'm like you. I have all the DVDs that I have left. I don't really buy them hardly at all anymore, unless they're those 3D DCs or 3D Marvel. But anyway, they're in the back, and I don't want to like go through and pull out the DVDs and all that. If I can watch it digitally, I'm just going to do it like that, you know.
All right, so we're going to be starting that off. I think we're going to be ending it here, if that's okay with my co-host.
That's it, you know. City of the Living Dead was a good movie.
That bad.
Oh, Ouija Shark.
Ouija
that's
Shark.
The reigning one, yeah.
Of
Still
course,
champion.
City of the Living Dead, Lucio Fulci. Is it that bad? No, it was pretty good. We liked the gore. We definitely liked the
I thought
music.
it was good stuff.
I mean, we liked the whole brain snatching.
One of these
thing.
days, we're gonna have to do Lucio Part 2, and see what the second film was. Because I don't do a lot of these films.
Favorite, so maybe we could get Carson on that one. Just
come back home and get some more good action, Lucio style.
So next week we will be talking about, I don't know which one of the films yet.
That's right.
But we shall find out. So check out the community tab and check back often to see about which film we're going to be doing.
That's it.
So yeah, until next time, guys, bye.
I like those. These are classic. They kind of remind me of waxing on, waxing off, kind of.
Oh my God.
Doesn't it look kind of like, if you complete the deal, it's like a circle. Just imagine it being like a clock or something. Right?
All right, I'm going to end it here.
I thought you had already ended it.
No, we were still going live. That was
Okay.
golden.
Classic.